Good evening, dear friends. This is Santa Claus bringing you the news on this January 15th, 2026, a day that reminds us of history's unexpected turns, just like that molasses wave that swept through Boston on this day in 1919. My heart is heavy tonight as I look across our troubled world. In Ukraine, families are enduring what might be Kyiv's cruelest winter. The bitter cold has reached 12 degrees Fahrenheit outside, while Russian strikes have cut heating and electricity. I think of little Markiian, just 1 year old, bundled in layers as his parents fled their home, their little fortress, for warmth elsewhere. In these moments of hardship, I pray for the safety of all children and families facing such trials. Meanwhile, across the globe in Minnesota, tensions are rising as federal immigration officers have moved into Minneapolis. My heart aches at the reports of violence, a U.S. citizen shot dead and now another man wounded. When I hear of threats to deploy military forces against protesters, I'm reminded that peace begins with compassion and understanding, not with force. We must always remember that behind every policy are real human beings deserving of dignity. Now, turning our gaze to the Middle East, there appears to be some positive news as Maersk plans to resume shipping through the Red Sea following improved stability in the region. The ceasefire in Gaza has allowed for some return to normalcy, though the situation remains fragile. I pray for lasting peace in this troubled region where too many have suffered for far too long. Let us pause for a moment and reflect on the situation in Iran, where thousands of souls have reportedly been lost in a government crackdown on protesters. The internet blackout has silenced many voices and families fear leaving their homes. My heart breaks for those seeking freedom and justice, and I pray for mercy and compassion to prevail where violence now reigns. Meanwhile, in the Arctic, German and French military personnel are arriving in Greenland as NATO expresses concern about Russian and Chinese activities in the region. I've always found the pristine Arctic to be a place of wonder and beauty, a reminder of our responsibility to care for all of God's creation. May wisdom guide these nations to find peaceful cooperation rather than conflict. On a more hopeful note, Canada and China appear to be warming their diplomatic relations, with Prime Minister Carney visiting Beijing for the first time since 2017. Finding paths to peace and understanding between nations is always a blessing, though we must never forget that true friendship requires honesty about human dignity and rights. The situation in Venezuela continues to develop, with U.S. forces seizing a sixth oil tanker, potentially raising tensions with Russia. The complex web of international relations reminds us how connected our world truly is and how actions in one place ripple across the globe. In our own country, President Trump has indicated he has no immediate plans to remove Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell despite an ongoing investigation. He has also expressed uncertainty about support for the son of Iran's last Shah as protests continue in that nation. And in Argentina, we see a different approach to U.S. foreign policy, with financial support rather than military force being used to shore up an ally's economy. The $20 billion lifeline reminds us that nations can help one another through generosity rather than threats. As I look at all these developments, I'm reminded of the importance of seeking peace in our hearts and in our world. In times of division, let us remember to see the humanity in one another, to protect the vulnerable, and to believe that love and kindness can overcome even the deepest conflicts. Until we meet again tomorrow, this is Santa Claus, wishing you a night of peace and warmth in these cold January days.